So normally once Superman gets depowered, he is pretty much done. Like, he's not invulnerable, he can't move super speed, and he really doesn't know how to fight. Let's see if that applies in this comic. My name is Dorian, this is SCM Comics. We are continuing our coverage of Absolute Power with Superman number 17. So the story starts off back in the day where we see a Welcome to Smallville sign, home of Superboy. And then Superboy gets pretty much thrown right through it. And we see Kid Warlock talking about, I know your weakness, Boy of Steel. You know how hard it was for me not to say Man of Steel. And Superboy is more worried about his cape that just got damaged because he's like, man, my mom just made this for me. And he's like, man, I really hate. And then we go to the next page. We're in present time. And he says, magic. Now, if you wonder why Superman and Zatanna are together, we ain't got time to explain all that. But a link to the playlist is always in the description. Well, anyway, they're at the headquarters of the Justice League Dark, which is right underneath the Hall of Order. And Superman's like, how in the hell did Man Waller not find this? And Zatanna's like, she probably has, but the force field that goes around it is pretty much designed that if you're not a magic user, you'll pretty much be walking to eternity and will never find anything. And then she also explains that the only reason why they're able to get there is because Wonder Woman had a shortcut that she uses from the mascara. So Zatanna's going over the plan with Superman, how they're there to find the map Mordru. Once they do that, they'll be able to pretty much travel anywhere, including the multiverse, without Amanda Waller being able to track them. But all Superman could think about is how he had to blow up his forces of solitude. And he used to let his emotions get to him as he starts punching the wall multiple times. And she has to stop him. And he starts to explain how, Amanda Waller pretty much had to make him blow up his force of solitude. He had to fight his son, turned his son into whatever he was when he showed up. And it just upsets him. And she's like, yeah, I know. When I lost my dad, I really didn't know what to do or how to handle it. Because of that makes us, and Superman finishes the statement, human. So then we switch to Metropolis, where Amanda Waller's hologram is giving Peacemaker the business. She's pissed at him because he let Lex Luthor get away. Now, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on what side you're rooting for, Amanda Waller doesn't know that Lex Luthor doesn't have his memories. He lost his memories during the whole Brainiac War, and I don't even know it was called Brainiac War, but that's what I'm calling it. She has the Bride of Brainiac, but I guess the Bride of Brainiac didn't know that Lex Luthor lost his memory. And Peacemaker is trying to explain how somebody other than Lex Luthor got into one of the super armors and pretty much did a number on him and got him out of there. So now Amanda Waller is trying to figure out who she didn't account for when she started this whole thing. And then we see the person who they didn't account for, which is Lois Lane. She's pretty much flying back from, I guess, patrol or whatever. And she goes straight to Leanne's apartment. That's where everybody's hiding out at. She explains how Amanda Waller pretty much took over the Daily Planet. She didn't know what news was real and what was propaganda. She heard Superman got shot, but she didn't have any way of verifying it. So she went to Supercorp, and that's when she grabbed a super suit. She saw what was going on with them, and she decided to rescue them. So Lex Luthor's daughter is pretty much explaining how they went there to try to jog Lex's memory, which didn't work. And Lex is sitting there, he's like, yeah, I still can't remember anything. But the way you guys talk about him, it seems like he was a great man. Everybody just looks at him like, yeah, okay. So then Mercy shows up, and she's like, all right, Lois, you need to take off that super suit, because if I can track you, that means they can track you too. So then she sees Lex, and she's like, Mr. Luthor, and she goes to hug him, and obviously he doesn't recognize her, and this is the first time she is realizing that he doesn't have his memory. So then Lois is asking about Superman. It's like, did he get shot, or is it bullcrap? And Mercy's like, all right, let me fill you in on everything that's been going down. So now we cut back to Superman and Zatanna, and Superman's explaining how he keeps getting all these different images pop in his head of when he had to deal with different magic users in the past. And Zatanna's like, yeah, that's pretty much the dark road, getting you ready for what's about to go down. So as they're walking, Superman's like, are we in the swamp? And he was like, yeah, not just any swamp. We're in the swamp of Swamp Thing. We're in an apartment of trees. I hid something there, and then we got to go get it. All of a sudden, they're walking, and there's fire everywhere because Amanda Waller's troops are burning down all the trees. So Superman doesn't even hesitate. He goes running, and then punches the first dude he comes to. Zatanna's like, well, I guess I gotta help out. She comes in with a flying knee, so I guess she's a fan of Bryan Danielson. So Superman's trying to fight them all, and Zatanna's trying to explain to them, like, look, we can't stop them all. Like, we need to get our powers back to be able to really deal with these guys. So why don't you come help me? Let me look for this tree. Hopefully it's not burned down yet. So they find it. It is on fire. Zatanna just runs over, reaches her hand into the burning tree, and she pulls out a book. The book is called The Oblivion Bar. Zatanna explains to Superman how pretty much once they read the magic words, they'll be transported there. She also explains that it's going to hurt. Superman's like, I'm getting used to that. Like, you forget that it takes a lot to hurt Superman when he's powered up. So she's like, all right, you ready? And he's like, all right. And they read the magic words. Once upon a time, there was a bar called the Oblivion Bar. And then they start transforming into words and going into the book. One of Amanda Waller's goons starts to instantly burn the book. Another dude's like, hey, she wanted all artifacts to go to the army. He's like, it's too late. That must have been the dude that caught the flying knee. But on the next page, we see that they did make it, so they did not get burned to a crisp. So Zatanna's like, try not to stand out, Superman. He looks at her like, yeah, okay. This big S on my chest, it's kind of hard to hide. So another magician recognizes her. I guess he's like a big fan of hers. He's also a stage magician that's been down on his luck a little bit, so he decided to get a job at the Oblivion Bar. He's trying to explain to her how there's somebody that already showed up, which was Jade Stone, and wrecked shop. They rebuilt it, but now they're kind of leery. And before he could say another word to her, all you hear is Superman yell, cowards! Every single one of you are cowards. You guys still have your magic abilities, and you decided to hide here instead of helping us out there, and we don't have our powers. There are people out there risking their lives, people that you call friends, and you rather stay here, drink, and hide from the world. All of a sudden somebody says, you're here too, ain't you? And we see his kid Warlock, and he's a hell of a lot bigger now. So Superman's like, kid Warlock. Or should I just say Warlock now? And he's like, nah, I kept the kid. You gotta stay on brand. So the kid Warlock goes to escort him out, and Superman's like, no, I'm not leaving. Nah, until I get the map of Mordru. And the kid Warlock's like, oh, okay, fine. I guess we can do it the hard way. I know your weakness. And he hits him with a magic spell. Before I go any further, can I just say that Jamal Campbell is doing a hell of a job, like drawing this and coloring this. Like, this book looks fantastic. So Superman pretty much gets back. He gets in like a fighting stance. Kid Warlock goes to do another magic spell, and Superman comes up with a straight right to his chin. Kid Warlock is coughing. He's trying to say another spell, and then he hits him with a left, right in the stomach. And then he picks him up and he throws him. That's Batman. Like, Batman has told this man numerous times, when your powers are going, you gotta be able to handle yourself. So that got to be Batman's influence. And then Superman is just feeling himself, because he's like, anybody else? Next words I better hear is, I can help. Well, and that's what somebody says, I can help. All of a sudden they start heading up these steps, and this dude's smoking and drinking. And he's like, I came across this map some time ago, and it can be yours, as long as we can come to a deal. This dude is named Naran. He's pretty much a John Constantine, or it's supposed to be Constantine, but Constantine sounds better. He's one of his villains, so it's a demon. Plain simple, they're dealing with a demon.